Hello everyone! Hope everyone is doing well and has had a good day or night wherever they're from, whatever time they're listening to this on. Today we're going to be discussing the game blog update of 2023, the roadmap update. This came out, it was last night for me. I'm in New Zealand. It's taken me a little bit of time to get there. I wanted to do it this morning, but let me tell you, I had just one of those days where like everything just that could go wrong did go wrong. So I'm here. I feel like a lot of us have had, this has been quite a big issue for a long time, where people have felt upset and angry at the team because of how they have kept us in the dark a lot, and there's been a lot of empty promises. Rattle's video was great. If you haven't seen it, go and check that out. Her series has covered it pretty well, and there's been a lot of creators that have spoken the things that have been happening. You know, things have happened since 2020. We felt like we haven't been heard, and this article, I feel like SSO has finally addressed to what's been happening and apologized for it and taken accountability, because I think that's all we need. Like, I feel like as a community we're pretty understanding to when things go wrong or if things need to be done instead of other things, but what we're upset about is not being told about it. And I feel like that's what they've done here. So anyway, let's get into it and talk about it. So first of all, they talk about what they have done. You know, see, right off the bat, they've talked about, somebody here that sent us what we have done with excitement and irony. And that is okay. I love irony and feedback. So they're acknowledging that, you know, there is stuff that they haven't done quite right. And, you know, they're making a little joke about it. So I like that. I like that they've started with that. And like, honestly, this Jane Skolman, the person who wrote this article, I like the way that they've written this and the way that it's been laid out. It's like, there's not a lot of like fluff in it, right? This is what's happening, and here's the facts. It's not like we see it in the update, a lot of fluff to fluff it up. This is just straight fact. This is what we're doing, here we are, and I like that it's just how it is. She's written it in the way of layers. So first of all, the stuff that has gone according to plan. So the foundation layer, we have pretty much followed the plan. We have released some new horses with the Morgans, the 𝘴𝘰𝘧𝘵𝘅𝘍, and 2 new magical horses, some new races, some minor quests. And we have retrofitted the ☴𝘴𝘧𝘵𝘢𝑡𝑡𝑡 and the 𝘴𝘴𝑃₀. And listen, I'm going to stop here because the retrofitting thing, like, that is something that personally, like, just really infuriates me, because when they first released this, and if anybody can fact check this, like, I'll stand corrected. When they first talked about retrofitting, they put out a post that said it was sometime in February or March, which has been over a year now, that they were going to be retrofitting. This is when they first said it. And that it will be finished at the end of March, or it was going to be within a month. And it has now been a year and it hasn't been finished. That post where they first said that they were going to be doing the retrofitting has been deleted. Like, it's gone. So yeah, that's just like interesting to me, because I've tried to find it and I can't. Like, that whole news post is completely gone where they first talked about it, because I remembered seeing it and I thought about screenshotting it and I didn't, and I wish I had listened to that little voice in my head that said screenshot it, and I was like, no, it's okay, because I can always go back to it if I need that information. And now it is gone. So I'm telling you guys, listen to your intuition, okay? If you ever get that little feeling that's like, maybe do it. Even if you feel like you won't need it, just do it. Okay, anyway. And we're still working on the next story quest, where we visit the newly created and very longed for Devil's Gap area. I'm so excited for Devil's Gap. We have been waiting for so long for Devil's freaking Gap. They've talked about releasing the new state machine, allowing us to have smoother transitions between gates. This is no longer needed for breaks between jumps. Okay, and then they talk about going forward, we can animate and design with this in mind. We are no longer bound to restricted hard-coded animations as we had before. Instead, we can have tighter collaboration with character and horse once they have the same state. So I think before, the horses and the characters had different states, or had different engines, I guess, so it wasn't like smooth, and it made it hard for them to code things together. So now it'll make it easier for them to do things, and hopefully things will be able to pump out faster, and it just opens them up for new things that they can do. And this was why a lot of the old employees left, right? Was because the code was too hard and old and outdated for them to work with. So it sounds like they're finally upgrading stuff for their employees to be able to work with. And they're addressing the bugs, which is great because there have been so many bugs and it's honestly ridiculous the amount of bugs. It just feels like they haven't been getting fixed. Like the Linda thing was bugged. Like nobody in the game could see Linda, especially for the people who were still doing their story quests, who were like, since Halloween, Linda was bugged all the way up until a couple of weeks ago. That is a long time to be waiting. Like, that is ridiculous. So yeah, why did they release this if they knew that it was going to be coming with a lot of bugs? So basically, they talk about here that they just wanted to release it because if they didn't release it, it would have delayed the horse progression that was going to be coming out. It's scheduled for May, so basically they wanted to push it out, deal with the bugs as they came up. And then they talk a little bit about the new characters. My goodness. I think around just before the Rainbow Festival. Yep, just before we enter into the Rainbow Festival, they're going to do a beta test just before the release to make sure everything's all good and running okay. And then, so that's really soon. That's coming up in summer. I mean, summer for people on the other side of the world. For me, it's currently summer, so it'll be just before winter for me, which isn't that far away. And then finally, people on Android will be able to, so this is going to be released, so they will have early access in Sweden in the beginning of May, so they will be testing that out. That's basically what they did with Australia and New Zealand. They released it to us first and then released it to everyone else. So they'll release it in a smaller area first to make sure that it can handle what it's doing, and then everyone else will get it, so it should be fine. You guys have been waiting a long time for this, so I'm really happy that you guys will finally be able to play. And they have addressed this too. They said, I do understand that it feels like we have taken forever to get it out. It has. It literally has taken a really long time. And then they talk about a new layer. They talk about trying dressage out in the equestrian festival to see what people like, how they're wanting feedback, and that they're going to start working on adding more multiplayer and co-op mechanisms. So like how we were doing the group races, which was really cool because it reminds me of how we used to do Galentine's Day. And it brought back a lot of memories. I was like, oh my gosh, I remember that event. So it was really nice. I would really like more co-op things. It's cool. It's like, feels very like community. I really hope they do take in some consideration for the dressage, take in that feedback, because a lot of people are having issues with it. I read that it was between like the client server and the Star Stable servers, and there's like lag between them. It's kind of like how we get screen delay. There's like lag between them, so like we go through it but the server doesn't pick it up, and then that's why it's not quite working all the time. This is another really exciting thing. Modernizing these things will allow us to change our character's name, which has been longed for a really long time. There's so many like new things that we've been asking for ages that it feels like they're finally delivering, and I really hope that they actually do deliver on these things, because they're talking about things that we have been really asking for. They won't be released in 2023, so we're gonna have to wait for that. Okay, this one made me like question a little bit. They talked about, we didn't share in January, is the revamp of dramatic music in Ꞵ𝘧𝘴𝘅𝘴. It's like, okay, cool, like new music, like can we just have an update of Ꞵ𝘧𝘴𝘴? Like that place is shabby. You know, everything like surrounding it has been updated. Like you've got ꞵ𝗵𝗶𝘁𝗏 and we've got Valdale and we've got Silverglade that has all been updated and looks nice, and then you run through Ꞵ𝘧𝘴𝘴𝘅𝘴 and it's like, ugh, it feels like, ugh. Can we please just have Ꞵ𝘧𝘴𝘴𝘅𝘴𝘴 updated? Okay, the discovery layer. Okay, so here we're going to talk about breeding. They're going to be putting breeding into the game, and Gen 4 horses. It's like we haven't even got through the Gen 3 yet and we're already talking about Gen 4. Okay, bitch, here we go, buckle up. So when they got the feedback regarding breeding and combined that with our thoughts of Gen 4 horses, we have merged these two discoveries into what? With still having in mind that we are exploring ideas, and we think that the Gen 4 horses should be the first generation that offer some customization and uniqueness rather than going all in on breeding. With previous generations, we have done graphical updates based on the same system. Now we want to update the system instead and put more creative freedom for you as the owner of the horse. I am all for this. Honestly, when they first mentioned the idea of breeding, I was like, I don't really care for it. Like, I don't care. Like, there's plenty of other games out there. Like, pretty much every other horse game, there's breeding. It's breeding. Like, right? Star Stable, it's not really a breeding game. I'm just like, I don't care. I don't care for it. Like, I'm quite happy to just buy my horses. And it's like, how are they going to handle that anyway? I could just imagine it being a huge money pit. But I like this idea of where we can customize our horses and have uniqueness. And so we're not all riding around on the same friggin' horse. Like, we all have the same thing. And I think it would be really cool if we could customize, like, the socks and the blaze and maybe the hair color a little bit. I don't like if we could have, like, different shades of brown or flaxen or whatever have you, you know. I think that would be a really cool way of just making things a little bit more unique. I'd really like that. Or even eye color. Imagine if we could change the eye color on some of our horses. That would be really neat. Okay, and then they talk about magic. At this point, you have used magic a number of times and you're on your opponents too. But do you know where this magic actually comes from and how that magic correlates to the magic of the Dark Riders in Pandoria? We are currently overseeing the in-game representation that aligns with the context of the lore, so we will explore the magic of several aspects in order to have our magic be visually compelling so you as a player understand where its sources come from. So the lore is everywhere. It's everywhere. I think before we start getting like more into lore, I would really like a book or a guide or something in the game that says from like start to finish. And also because it's been so long. I mean, Anne was stuck in Pandoria for 3 years before we were able to get her out. So much of what happened before I've completely forgotten. And there's so many little nuances and little things that are like said where I'm like, I'm just not getting it. I'm not picking up what you're putting down because I can't remember what happened like 6 years ago. I don't know. So I would really like to have something that just like a lore book where we can just remember what happened that's up to date because it's everywhere at the moment. We had a company that was like really focused on the lore and the story building, and we're like really compassionate and cared about the company and the characters a lot, what was happening and where it was going. And then the other company took over and it kind of went a little bit very went corporate. It went very corporate, and so I feel like there isn't that same love and warmth as we've had. I feel like the story's fallen out a little bit. It's kind of going in a new direction because it's like that sometimes when you've got a team, and when it moved over, the team lost a lot of its members, right? It lost a lot of its staff. And so that team that had the same love kind of dropped away, and you've got new staff coming in and they don't have that same love and fondness, and they have these new ideas and want to take it in a different direction. And of course, I think everyone just needs to get together, figure out what's actually going on from start to finish, tie it all up with a neat little ribbon and present it to us. Like, kind of forget what you've known. This is what's happening. Like, this is what it is now. And then we've got this little thing of ꞵ𝗵𝗧 here. This little sketch of ꞵ𝗵𝗧. Interesting, never seen her before like that. So that's cool. Since ꞵ𝗵𝗧 gave up her physical form to give the riders and horses on your Vic their magical bond, it's very unlikely we ever get to see her true form. Some still believe it's a girl on horse, but others talk about a magical being, half girl, half horse. And when riders and horses form the bond, ꞵ𝗵𝗧 is whole again. What did not go as planned? And this is where they kind of start taking some accountability. What I hope should have started as of now in the inventory revamp. Oh, the inventory, I swear. Please. This got delayed since we wanted to react to the feedback we got from the horse progression beta test. And since this is the same people, designers that are good friends with features and system, UI, blah 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 blah, we can't start this until the horse progression feature is ready to be released. But soon, so it's not taken off from the roadmap, only delayed. So the inventory revamp will be coming with horse progression, which is coming, I think, in May. I think horse progression is coming in May, so we will get the inventory sometime after that. Hopefully not too soon. I love how they don't state when, but it is coming, okay? It could be in December. We don't know. Okay, another area that got delayed for the next step is horse bonding, the discovery for horse prestige and personality. Unfortunately, this will most likely not happen until 2024. As we still have full focus on the inventory revamp. Okay, so it will happen between May and 2024. Okay, we also had planned to do another beta test of the new character in March. This was postponed, but as mentioned above, we will do both beta of the actual release before closer to summer. things that got higher priority. Then we have an initiative that we have added to the roadmap, which is an initiative that goes across the whole company to have more focus on bugs. So here it's about the bug fixes. This is something that we have all had issues with. We've all been kept in the dark. We've been wondering what's going on. A lot of us have had no information on. We've sent reports. We will get the same reply back. So they've actually listened to us and have done something about it, which I'm surprised about and happy that they've listened. So they've said to have more focus on bugs. It's not that we are not fixing bugs today, but we do want to be more transparent and informative about what bugs we are aware of. They have acknowledged that yes, we have failed you in this area, both when it comes to the information but also the fixes themselves. Linda, hello? Hello, Linda? So as a start, we will bring back a new version of the bug fix log on starstable.com and also do social media posts with the latest bug fixes. Thank you. Thank you. So this is what it's going to look like. And this is just a sketch. This might not be the final piece of what it will look like, but this is what they're thinking of doing. Positive surprises. Then there are things that have been on the wish list for a very long time, but for various reasons have been given time or seen as not possible to do so. Horse pages. If you haven't seen them yet, go and visit and read about your favorite horse. So these were the horse pages, which were really cool. I first saw this, I think, with the ꞵ𝗵𝗶𝘁𝗲𝘅𝘓𝗫. And so here's a thing where they've got all the horses, well, not all of them. So yep, you can click on any of them, they come up. Look at it's beautiful, look at it. And you can see type, requirements, price, and where they're found. And you can see just the different, it's just a nice little addition. And they talk about redesigning the desktop launcher. We can now see our star coins and buy stable care from the launcher. We also have a new tool to use in order to easily capture your feedback, and this was an area that was seen as impossible to do due to legal reasons. And what they're talking about is the in-game survey tool, which they had when they first added the new champs, and they had that survey. It was after we had finished the champ and the little survey popped up like, what do you think? So yeah, they've added that in, and that is something that they're going to do in the future with different things, so that we can give feedback while we're in the game. Yeah, that's it. She signs off. She says that she's looking forward to our reactions and feedback. So overall, this roadmap, I'm feeling a bit excited because it doesn't feel overdone. It doesn't feel like we're going to have this area and there's going to be all these breeds of horses, and it's not like, it's not too much, you know. It's just, this is what we're currently working on. This is what we're hoping to achieve. It's not like, it doesn't feel like too many promises that like they're not going to be able to deliver. It feels doable for them. And it's kind of stuff that they've already said. There's a few little sprinkles in there, and it feels like they've really looked at things that we want, that we've been asking for, and they're like, yep, okay, and they've listened. And so if they do follow through on these things, it's going to start changing my view of how things have been so far, because at the moment it's not looking good. I'm not feeling as positive about how things are being run. So like, I like the game. Obviously I like the game. I mean, I'm playing it, but there's some things where it's like, it's annoying, like we've been waiting, like we've been asking. Obviously it's not perfect. Nothing's ever going to be perfect, but this community is upset, and rightfully so, and I think this feels like a good step towards coming closer. Let's just hope that they are able to deliver. And I like the fact that they were like, yeah, we hear you and we take accountability, and this is what we're going to do. And it's not just that they took accountability, it's that they have started doing things and implementing things about, you know, like fixing it. So yeah, how do you feel about it so far? What are you excited for? Let me know. Have a good afternoon, day, whatever you're up to. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.